The Oakhaven Inn, a charming, centuries-old coaching inn nestled in the rolling hills of Vermont, was renowned for its rustic charm, gourmet food, and among those in the know, its resident ghosts. Young couple, Alex and Ben, enthusiastic food bloggers and aspiring innkeepers, had sunk their life savings into purchasing it, captivated by its history and potential. They were aware of the ghost stories, tales of a spectral serving wench, a grumpy Revolutionary War soldier, and various other minor apparitions, but they viewed them as a quirky selling point rather than a genuine threat. The inn was a labyrinth of creaking floorboards, low-beam ceilings, and cozy rooms, each with its own unique, antique character. The heart of the inn was its ancient flagstone-floored kitchen, and beneath it, a vast, damp cellar, accessed by a heavy oak door secured with a thick iron bolt. This cellar door was the one feature that gave even the pragmatic Alex a prickle of unease. It always felt cold, and a strange, earthy smell seemed to emanate from the cracks around its frame. The previous owners, an elderly couple retiring to Florida, had been rather vague about the cellar. Mostly storage, Mrs. Henderson had said, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. We rarely go down there. Best to keep it bolted, dear, just in case of drafts. Alex and Ben, eager to utilize every inch of space for their planned boutique wine collection and charcuterie storage, decided to explore the cellar on their first full day as owners. Ben, ever the optimist, struggled with the rusty bolt, while Alex held a powerful flashlight. With a groan of protesting metal, the bolt slid back. The heavy door creaked open, revealing a steep flight of narrow stone steps disappearing into Stygian blackness. A gust of frigid, musty air, smelling of damp earth and something else, something vaguely metallic and unsettling, rushed up to meet them. "Charming," Ben quipped, though his voice held a nervous tremor. "Ladies first?" Alex rolled her eyes and descended cautiously, Ben following close behind. The cellar was larger than they expected. A series of interconnected, low-ceilinged vaults supported by thick stone pillars. The air was heavy, oppressive, and silent, a stark contrast to the cheerful bustle they envisioned for the inn above. Wooden shelves lined some walls, holding dusty, unidentifiable bottles and crates. In the center of the largest vault, the stone floor was darker, almost stained, in a large, irregular patch. As they explored, Alex felt it, a distinct drop in temperature and the unnerving sensation of being watched, not by the inn's more whimsical reported ghosts, but by something older, angrier, and decidedly malevolent. Ben, usually jovial, grew quiet, his flashlight beam darting nervously into the shadowy corners. "Okay, I think I've seen enough for one day," he said, his voice tight. "This place gives me the creeps. Let's bolt that door and maybe concrete it over?" Alex, though equally unsettled, tried to remain practical. "It's a perfect wine cellar, Ben. We just need to clean it out, maybe get some dehumidifiers." But the cellar seemed to resist their efforts. Every time they planned to work down there, something would happen. Tools would go missing, only to reappear in bizarre places. Light bulbs they installed would shatter or simply refuse to work. Once, a heavy crate toppled from a high shelf, narrowly missing Alex's head, even though it had seemed perfectly stable moments before. The activity wasn't confined to the cellar. Doors throughout the inn would slam shut with violent force, especially the cellar door, which they'd find rebolted from the inside, even when they were certain they'd left it open. Cold spots became more pronounced, particularly in the kitchen area directly above the cellar. They'd hear deep, guttural groans and scraping sounds emanating from below the floorboards at night. The inn's resident handyman, a wizened old local named Jebediah, who had worked there for over 50 years, watched their struggles with a knowing silence. Finally, one afternoon, after the cellar door had slammed shut and bolted itself with Alex and Ben standing right there, Jebediah sighed. "It ain't the serving wench or the soldier doing that," he said, his voice low. It's old man Hemlock, or what's left of him. According to Jebediah, and later corroborated by dusty town records Alex unearthed, the original owner of the land upon which the inn was built was a miserly, cruel farmer named Silas Hemlock back in the late 17th century. Hemlock was rumored to have hoarded a small fortune, burying it somewhere on his property. He was a recluse, distrustful of everyone, and known for his violent temper. One winter, he simply vanished. Locals assumed he'd died of exposure or fled with his gold. His farmhouse was eventually torn down and the inn built over its foundations, particularly its deep root cellar. They say Hemlock guards his treasure still, Jebediah continued, his eyes glinting, and he don't take kindly to folks poking around his cellar. That's his domain. Alex and Ben, though modern and rational, couldn't ignore the escalating phenomena. Guests began to complain of oppressive feelings in certain rooms, of waking to find furniture rearranged or hearing angry whispers. Their dream of a charming, bustling inn was being overshadowed by a dark, possessive entity. One night, a particularly violent poltergeist episode occurred in the kitchen. Pots and pans flew from their hooks, cupboards burst open, and the heavy wooden butcher's block overturned with a deafening crash. The epicenter of the activity was clearly the cellar door, which rattled and shook in its frame, as if something monstrous was trying to break free. Terrified, they called a local historian who specialized in regional folklore and paranormal occurrences, a woman named Professor Anya Sharma. After inspecting the inn, particularly the cellar, and listening to their accounts, Professor Sharma looked grave. Silas Hemlock was by all accounts a nasty piece of work, she said. And entities tied to hoarded wealth and unresolved earthly matters can be incredibly territorial and malevolent. He sees you as trespassers, attempting to disturb his property and perhaps even find his gold. Professor Sharma suggested a formal blessing or, if they were willing, an attempt at communication to try and appease or banish the spirit. Alex and Ben, desperate, agreed to try anything. The attempt at communication, conducted by Professor Sharma with Alex and Ben present as anchors, took place in the kitchen, as close to the cellar door as they dared. Sharma used EVP recorders and a spirit box. For a long while, there was only static. Then a guttural, angry voice crackled through the spirit box. "Mine, leave, thieves." The temperature plummeted. The cellar door began to bang violently. A low growl seemed to emanate from the wood itself. "We mean you no harm, Silas," Professor Sharma said calmly, though her knuckles were white where she gripped her equipment. "This is no longer your time. You must find peace." "Never!" the voice roared back, followed by a string of archaic curses, then a chilling whisper, "Join me, in the dark." Suddenly, the iron bolt on the cellar door slid back with a screech, and the door creaked open slowly, revealing the inky blackness below. A putrid, earthy stench filled the kitchen. Alex screamed. Ben grabbed her arm, pulling her back. Professor Sharma, though visibly shaken, stood her ground. "You have no power over us, Silas Hemlock. This house is protected," she declared, holding up a silver crucifix she wore. A deafening, inhuman roar erupted from the cellar, and a blast of icy air swept through the kitchen, extinguishing the candles they had lit. The cellar door slammed shut with such force that the entire inn seemed to shake. Then, silence. The oppressive atmosphere lessened, but the coldness around the cellar door remained. Professor Sharma advised them that Hemlock's spirit was too deeply entrenched, too malevolent to be easily appeased or banished by simple means. "He's tied to the land, to whatever he buried down there. Short of a full exorcism, which is rarely successful with such entities, your best bet is to seal that cellar permanently." Taking her advice, Alex and Ben hired contractors. The cellar door was reinforced with steel, and the entire cellar space below was filled with consecrated earth and then concrete, a drastic and expensive measure. Jebediah oversaw the work with a grim satisfaction. After the cellar was sealed, the violent poltergeist activity ceased. The inn gradually returned to a state of relative calm. The spectral serving wench might still occasionally misplace a teacup, and the revolutionary soldier might be heard muttering in a distant corridor, but the dark, oppressive presence of Silas Hemlock was gone, or at least contained. Alex and Ben finally opened the Oakhaven Inn. It became successful, known for its charm and its quirky ghosts. They never spoke of Silas Hemlock to their guests, but sometimes late at night when Alex was alone in the quiet kitchen, she would feel a faint chill near the spot where the cellar door once stood. And she would hear or imagine she heard a faint angry scraping sound from deep beneath the flagstone floor, a reminder of the darkness that lay buried, but perhaps not entirely dormant, beneath their feet.